Okay, welcome guys for it's actually the fourth session for PLO. So we're gonna talk about GTO lines for preflop in PLO. So mostly it's about 3-bet, calling 3-bet and 4-bet. So let's get started. So we have a quick recall, which is the RFI, raise first in, that you raise as the first guy that put chips into the pot in a voluntarily way. So in 100 big blind deep cash game, UTG will open 18%, and as the position moves to the later parts, it's going to be 23, 31, 48%. It drops a little bit for small blind, 37%, because position is very important in PLO. So those are covered in lecture 1. In case you wanted to review, it's on YouTube. So let's move on to other lines. So these are mostly about 3-bets. So to start with, we wanted to introduce a few heuristics that are really important in PLO preflop. The first one is gap theory. Well, it's a very old school theory, probably like back to a decade ago. Someone says you need a stronger hand to call a raise than you need to open raise yourself. So this is true in both Hold'em and PLO. Well, when we say call, I mean cold call. So we can see some examples. The first one is cutoff open 31%, and button defense in total 23%. So 16% of them are cold calling, 3% are 3-betting. So you can see cutoff open 31% and button defense or plays only 23%. So even if button is in position, it's tighter than cutoff. So as a consequence, button will both have when button cold calls, button will both have a stronger range and also have position. So this kind of cutoff button single raise spot, if button is playing properly, is in a massive advantage of the button. And this also results in in GTO, most of the time, cutoff will just check the flop for their entire range. So it's similar to Hold'em, but it's even more severe for the positional disadvantage, which means if cutoff open, it gets cold called, it's just in a very bad position. So another example, you can see button opens 48%. This is very loose, by the way. It's actually opening half of their hands. Some of them are really trashy. So even button plays this loose, big blind calls only 39% and 3-bet 10%. So basically similar frequency that it put chips into the pot compared to the button. So it's very different to what a lot of people perceives, that big blind has already put into the pot one chip. It has the odds, blah, blah. This is not the case. So big blind is actually tight when it plays out of position. So this is one heuristic one. The other one is small blind is exceedingly tight. So when we say exceedingly, we mean exceedingly. For example, button opens 48% of the time. So it's a lot of trashy hands again. So what will small blind do? So when we see the preflop chart, small blind calls 8%, single digit, and 3-bets 9%, also single digit. So as a comparison, button, you're facing such a weak range of the button, 48%, a lot of weekends, but still facing these weak, the range, small blind only plays 17%. So small blind is exceedingly tight in PLO. So, well, these are cash. I mean, there's no ante, just one small blind and one big blind. If there's an ante, people get a little bit looser because of the better pot odds, but we can adjust it accordingly. The third heuristic is big blind defines tighter against more callers. This is also different. From what a lot of players perceives. Many people just think about PLO, it's 4 cards, we can play more loose. If it's a multi-way, they can play a lot of hands, they have the odds. That's not the case, because what we have is not the odds, but the so-called reverse odds. So if big blind is playing too loose, it's gonna get cooler so often. So we can see an example, cutoff opens 31%, big blind is gonna defend 39%. This is facing a single opener. But if cutoff opens 31%, button calls, if we add one caller, then the defend frequency is actually reduced by 2%. It's not increased, it's the opposite, reduced by 2%. If UTG opens, button calls, we can see big blind defines only 30% in total, 26% of calling, 4% of 3-betting. So this is very counterintuitive. Many people just think about, hey, there are two people. If I call, I only put in 2.5, I can see the big pot. 11 big blind pot, but this is not the case because when it's deep, it's a lot of reverse implied odds. So these are some heuristics to start with before we move on. What are the exact combos of our choice? So this is more about frequency. Any question you wanted to ask before we talk about combos? Okay, let's talk about combos. So RFI we have introduced in session 1. So now we talk more about 3-bets. So the first one, which is very common, which is button 3-bet cutoff. So back to this one. The first line, cutoff open 31%, button 3-bet 7%. So what are the 7% of hands that we're playing? So the first one is aces. So ace is almost always 3-bets because aces are just strong. It's the most strong combo possible in PLO pre-flop. There's a little bit of exception that if we have the absolute worst aces, for example, aces 7 deuce rainbow or aces 5 deuce rainbow, these kind of absolute worst ones, then we can flatten back raise. Well, this is a little bit different from Hold'em, that in Hold'em, if someone flatten back raise, like that's not gonna be a line that we encourage. But in PLO, this is GTO. We can flatten back raise. It's also possible for some live play adjustments, but we're not gonna talk about that in the session here. So the first one is aces, and then it comes to the next 4 rows. So these are very strong hands, post-flop, have a lot of equity. So we're 3-betting in the purpose of building a pot, or, well, we're also okay to take the pot down pre-flop. So the first one is double suited random. When we say DS, we mean double suited. Double suited random, double suited 2-pair is usually some requirements of the 2-pair. It cannot be like terrible 2-pair, but any decent 2-pair double suited, we're 3-betting. Double suited ace Broadway, ace king queen 5, ace king queen 10, ace king queen 9, ace queen jack 9, like this kind of double suited ace Broadway. And double suited ace random. Ace random means we have an ace and it's a 3-card random. For example, ace jack 10 9. It's a very, very strong hand. It's actually a 4-bet hand as well. So all these double suited hands are very strong 3-bet hands that we wanted to build a flop, pre-flop. One heuristics that we can get is these are all double suited. So if we change it to single suited, for example, I have jack 10 9 8 single suited. Do we 3-bet? Well, the solver, the Monker solver says no, we don't want to 3-bet single suited. And we almost only wanted to 3-bet, well, if not aces, double suited hands. So that makes a lot of difference. Like say king, king, queen, queen, it's a very strong hand. Pair of kings, pair of queens. If it's double suited, we definitely 3-bet and build a pot. But if it's single suited, we actually deliberate between calling and 3-betting. For early position, we definitely call, but for late position, it's very close. So double suited matters a lot. So now we move on to the last category. By the way, these are almost all the hands that 3-bets. So it's a very clear pattern. It's not like Hold'em that it's a lot of frequency for each hand. So Like when we have certain combos, we're just gonna 3-bet 100% of the time. So the last category is the most tough one. So here we go, all the bluffs. So it's ace pair. Ace pair to 3-bet, sorry. Ace pair to 3-bet. We have a few heuristics. So we call it stacking of factors. So if we have some factors are inclining for 3-bet, some factors are inclining for call, some are inclining for fold. More factors for 3-bets makes the hand 3-bet. So what are the 3-bet factors? The first one, we prefer bigger pairs. So ace king king is the biggest pair possible apart from aces. We prefer hands like ace king king, ace queen queen, sometimes ace jack jack. So if you press the solver, if you just work on the solver, you'll see the frequency is gonna significantly, it's a decreasing frequency for ace king king, ace queen queen, ace jack jack. Suit also matters. So, but this is the most tricky part. Do we want good suit or bad suit? So if we have, like when we say good suit, we mean double suited or single suited to the ace. When we say bad suit, we mean, well, single suited to not the ace, but the pair, like say ace king king suited to the king, or even triple suit, which means 3 cards of the same suit, or, well, even worse, monotone, all 4 cards of the same suit, or just rainbow, the garbage. So this is the tricky part. So for the hand that is strong in general, you want the suits to be good for 3-bet. Because this is 3-betting for value, to build a pot, to play post-flop a big pot. But if the hand is weaker, for example, ace queen queen, sometimes you want it to 3-bet the low suit as a pure bluff. If you got a 4-bet, you can fold it. So this is where it's not that linear. So linear, I mean like it's always the strong things that are 3-betting. Most of the time it's linear in PLO. So you can see all the first 5 rows are just linear. You just want to do 3-bet good things. So here, the ace pair stuff is actually the only thing that is not that linear. So you wanted to clearly identify if the hand is you wanted to 3-bet it as a value or just as a bluff. Depending on with facing a 4-bet, what you wanted to do. Yeah, so this is the last category, ace pair. So one thing to note, not bare kings. So kings are not 3-betting. There are a little bit of kings that are 3-betting actually. Given that it's button 3-bet cutoff, they're late positions, they're relatively looser. But the general heuristic is kings without an ace are not the things to build a pot pre-flop. It's not that strong. And also it really doesn't like facing 4-bet. So think about if you face a 4-bet, say the other guy 4-bets you, they're gonna pot it to approximately 37.5, things like that. So the pot is really big, SPR is approximately 1. So kings are not really smooth. So this is a concept that we're gonna talk about it more and more. Smooth means if you have a hand you want it to hit more often than not, than hitting big less often. So kings is like if you drill a set, it's very strong, but most of the time it's just gonna miss and it's drawing very thin to aces, which means you don't want to play kings SPR to 1 against aces. That's why we don't like to 3-bet kings. Okay, so let's continue. So button 3-bet, what if the 3-bet got, the cutoff got 3-bet, what's the defend? It's also very commonly misunderstood. So there's a common saying says we should defend 100% against a 3-bet because with 4 cards it's easy to hit. So this is a blunder. It's a lot of negative EV if we call the really bottom part of our opening. So if you look into the chart, it costs 46% 3-bet, 4-bet 14%, and fold 40%. These frequencies are of 30% of the RFI. So 4-bet is approximately the top 4% of the hands. And calling is approximately the top of the 4% plus 13% of the hands. So don't defend 100%. We don't have position. 3-bet range is usually strong. And especially in real games, people don't 3-bet those bluffs enough. People 3-bet too much value heavy. So we can actually even call less out of position. So definitely not calling more. So how to decide what to fold? So we don't have to remember everything. It's actually easier than the 3-bet one. We have to remember those categories. Those are all the hands that 3-bet. So for folding, we can just look into factors. So what are the factors that we do not like when defending a 3-bet? So here are 3 types of factors. The first type of factors are bad suits. Rainbow, the worst. Monotone, well, also like the worst. They almost never hit a flush with monotone. Tri-suit, also bad. So the reason is PLO has a different rule than Hold'em that you have to play 2 cards. This has a massive impact on flush because in Hold'em we can make 1 card flush and in PLO we cannot make 1 card flush. So having a suit or not has a direct impact on the equity you have. So in Hold'em, say you have offsuit and compared to suited, it's 4% equity compared to 5% equity of making a flush. Probability actually, not equity, but kind of. If 4% versus 5% is only 1% equity down. So it's more about equity realization in Hold'em, but in PLO, it's about direct equity. So if you don't have a suit, you have 5% less equity. It's very straightforward. So big pots, you want equity. It's a very straightforward logic. So there's no like, say in Hold'em, people sometimes do this, like if I have suited, I call because it's better multi-weight or something. If I have offsuit, I 3-bet because I want to take it down, blah, blah. This is a valid argument in Hold'em, but not in PLO. In PLO, you always wanted to play big pots with suits and preferably good suits. So the first factor, so these are in decreasing importance. The first factor that is most important is get rid of your rainbow, monotone, and most of the time tri-suit. The second one is having a non-aces paired is bad. So including kings. You open raise kings, you got 3-bet. If it's not a good kings, just get rid of it. The reason is, as I just described, smoothness. So to play the big pot low SPR, you wanted to have a hand that hits something more often than not. Then something like kings, which we call hitting hard, that you hit very strong hands less often, but most of the time just miss. Playing big pot, low SPR, you wanted to have smooth hands such as Jack-10, 9-8 instead of having a pair. So any paired is bad, including kings. And the third is having 1 ace is bad. This is obvious because the other guy have aces very often. So if we have 1 ace, the ace is dead. So we don't want it to have an ace. So these are the 3 factors. We don't have to remember what are the hands, what are the exact hand to call, but we can just evaluate on these 3 factors. How many factors do I have? Usually 1 factor is the most we can afford. It's a combination of those like how good is the hand itself, how many of these folding factors do we have. Okay, so we can continue a little bit talking about 3-betting for blind positions. This is a little bit different, but not much different. We can talk about 3-bet between a small blind and button. So the difference is 3-bet out of position is more linear compared to in position. This is the same as Hold'em. So in Hold'em, button 3-bet cutoff with cold call possible. Like we didn't talk about 3-bet or fold strategy. So let's say someone can have a mixture, can have both ranges of cold call and 3-bet. Then the 3-bet range will be more linear when they're in position, the button 3-bet cutoff. But for small blind, it's going to be more, it's going to be more polar for in position, but for small blind, it's going to be more linear. The reason is actually in the next slides. Button almost never fold. They fold like 5 to 10%. They're so sticky. The fold button is broken. So what is the sense of 3-betting polar? So you 3-bet some sort of bluffs. Say it's a rainbow, it's disconnected. They never fold. Why do you 3-bet polar? So it's a linear 3-bet. So what are newly added? Well, there's one more reason. It's small blind cold calling is very ineffective. It's not attractive. So we're 3-betting more, actually 2% more. So what are the newly added things? So we're 3-betting double suited kings. Before we're not 3-betting double suited kings because we don't want to face a 4-bet. However, as a small blind, it's really lucrative to just counter the button opening and try to punish their 48% very loose opening range. So we're 3-betting all the double suited kings. We're also 3-betting good single suited kings and more of those ace king king, like button versus cutoff, ace king king sometimes calls, but small blind versus button, ace king king 3-bet more often. We're also 3-betting high double suited ace king disconnected. So ace king connected are 3-betting anyway, high double suited. But we're also 3-betting high double suited disconnected. High double suited means it's suited to the ace, suited to the king, double suited. It's very good suits. It's 2 high suits. The reason is the same. We don't want to cold call in small blind out of position. So we really wanted to use those hands to build a pot and have the aggression ourselves. The next one is single suited ace Broadway. This is also relatively looser. We have ace jack to 9. It's usually the call, like button versus cutoff. We wanted to 3-bet only double suited of those, but small blind, we have no choice. We don't want to cold call. Instead, we wanted to build a pot and play the bigger pot. And also some single suited randowns. So you can see like we're adding some marginal hands that before was not 3-betting, but now they can 3-bet. A little bit of things are removed. As I just mentioned, those bluffs are removed. So ace plus a pair bluff, some of them are removed. Also very bad ace king king, such as ace king king rainbow, ace king king monotone, these are removed. So think about button versus cutoff. You can 3-bet ace king king rainbow, and then if they 4-bet, just get rid of it, just fold. But small blind, you don't want to do that because if you 3-bet ace king king rainbow garbage, they call, you're not going to hit any flush. You're guaranteed to not hit any flush. It's not a good hand. There's no front door flush draw, no back door flush draw, nothing. You don't want to play that garbage for a big pot. It's raw equity disadvantage. So like we just peeled, button defend against 3-bet imposition. Think about we open 48%, we're very loose. And now we're not only loose, but we're also a calling station. 3-bet by small blind, we're almost never folding. I fold 10%. If we are 200 big blind deep, we fold 5% or even 0% if there's no rake. So in position, we like to play these big pots. We have positional advantage. It's the same fold factors. So what are the fold factors? Again, bad suits have a pair, have an ace. But now, because we only fold like 10%, it really have to be the combination of those bad factors. We have a pair and we have also bad suits. Even like that, sometimes we're calling. Like we're just off station. Yeah, same factors. So exploitative wise, sometimes people are 3-betting too much, like too tight. Small blind 3-bet button should be 9% in GTO, but even online, people 3-bet, I don't know, like 5% or something like that. They're just so tight. If the small blind is tight enough, you can fold a little bit more, but not too much. Yeah, that's the small blind button. It's very similar, but some factors that we introduced. 4-bet, it's easy. 4-bet is one of the most easy stuff in PLO. Just a few heuristics. If we remember those heuristics, we can comfortably know how to 4-bet. So the first heuristic is very similar for every position. So it's not like Hold'em. So think about Hold'em. If it's UTG versus small blind, then race kind of, it's very tight. But if it's button versus small blind, then it's kind of jams with ace-5 suited stuff. But PLO, that's not the case. PLO is a little bit of looser for late positions, but it's basically the same range of 4-betting. That's the first thing. The second thing is once we 4-bet, we almost never fold. So 4-bet, 37.5 approximately. If the other guy 5-bet jams 100 big blinds, we cry, but we call if we are bluffing. So that's like the pricing stuff. So PLO, as long as you're not holding a garbage, a pure absolute garbage, you always have like 30-something% of equity. So once we 4-bet, there's no way to get rid of it. Just run it. The third heuristic is do not slow play aces. I've seen people slow play aces, like what they do in Hold'em. In Hold'em is okay. Aces are most of the time indifferent against the 3-bet. You can call with a slow frequency in GTO, but PLO, that's not the case. So if you have aces, the other guy 3-bet, just 4-bet pot it. If you have aces, the other guy 4-bet, just 5-bet pot it. Like, there's almost no exception. Okay, so what are the 4-bet hands? It's very easy. The first one, double suited rundown, preferably have a gap. The reason to have a gap, is not because of equity. They're similar in terms of equity. But the difference is if we have a gap, it's even more smooth because the hands are
more boards.
Yeah, it hits more board. It's spanning a larger, like actually one more cards. It's the same thing. You don't need to hit that hard. The only thing you wanted to do is to beat aces, right? If you have Jack 10, 9, 8, you're hitting so hard, but if you have Jack 10, 9, 7, you're hitting a little bit wider, but not that hard. The only thing you need to do is to beat aces. Double suited connected two pairs like 6, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, Queen, Queen, Jack, Jack, 5, 5, 6, 6. Double suited ace middle rundown between Jack to 7, ace, Jack, 10, 9, ace, Jack, 10, 8, ace, 10, 9, 7. So these are ace high double suited rundown. These are the main bluffs actually. So we're bluffing with those ace high 3-card rundown double suited. Hoping to block an ace, but even if against aces you have 40% of equity, just run it. Again, like this is a 4-bet bluff, but if the other guy jams, we're not folding. The final one is ace Broadway. This is the worst type of hands against aces, like ace, king, queen, jack, double suited. Against aces, we're no good, but we're still 4-betting. This is more of a frequency play. So if the other guy is tight, nitty, we can remove the double suited ace Broadway first, because this is the worst against the aces. Ace, king, queen, 5, ace, king, queen, 9, ace, queen, jack, 8. That's kind of a double suited ace Broadway. So the other couple of heuristics of choosing a card, the first one, they're not absolute, but the first one is we prefer to not having a king because we wanted to not block, we wanted to unblock kings. Kings are folding against your 4-bet, so you wanted to unblock a king. Especially against small blind. As we just mentioned, small blind 3-bet some kings. So if we don't have a king, then we're not blocking the kings, then kings are folding, then our bluffs are getting more fold equity. The final choice is ace, king, king. This is tricky. Ace, king, king is the only hand category that occasionally we can fold. We can 4-bet and then fold to a 5-bet jam. So if we 4-bet ace, king, king, one type is ace, king, king double suited. So these are just strong. If we run into aces, we're blocking one ace. If we run into aces, so be it. Just run it. The other types are ace, king, king, usually with low suits. Say ace, king, king suited to the king. We're 4-betting, that's a pure bluff. If the other guy jams back to our face, we can justify the fold. Or in actual play, I would suggest just to call them because people are just too tight in their 3-bet. So they don't deserve a 4-bet pure bluff. So those are the 4-bet. Those are the 4-bet hands. It's actually very easy to remember. It's not like Hold'em that it's a lot of frequency things, but it's just these hands, like almost the same in every position. A little bit wider in late positions, but just a little bit, not much. The reason is again, like once 4-bet, we almost never fold. So whenever we're 4-bet, we're ready to go. Okay, so the final one, as add-on, is cold call 3-bet. So this is a thing in PLO. Well, in Hold'em, we almost never cold call 3-bet. It's actually also the thing in GTO, but only in very specific spots and with not really high frequency. So in Hold'em, we don't suggest any cold call. But for PLO, cold call is a thing, at least for the current solution we have. So both GTO Wizard and PLO Mastermind, they're using the same backend solver. They're using Monker solver for preflop. GTO Wizard have their own postflop solving, but preflop, they're still using Monker. So both are giving you the same chart. So for this specific chart, we can find a very stable 1% cold call. Someone 3-bet, you cold call. So here, we're including it only for fun. You can safely remove it if you don't like. So what are the hands to cold call a 3-bet? There are two main justifications. They have to both hold for us to cold call a 3-bet. The first thing is your hand has to be kind of either completely miss or hit hard. So the most obvious thing is 2-pair. You have 2-pair in your hand. You either just drill a set or you just miss a set. So preflop raiser, if you call, preflop raiser will always have the odds to call. So you have to be good in multi-way. And the other justification is once you cold call 3-bet, you do not fold. So if someone 4-bet, 5-bet jam, you go with it and just run it. So sometimes it's minus EV if they 4-bet and 5-bet. But once we 3-bet, we always have the odds. We're never folding. So if you have a hand to justify these two things, it's a cold call 3-bet. So what are them? They're usually double suited 2-pair. Say something like king deuce deuce, 8-8-6-6, 6-6-4-4, 4-4-3-3. This kind of very strong double suited 2-pair that you don't want to 4-bet. So it's very good multi-way. Or sometimes single suited 2-pair, but big pair. So king, queen, single suited is very strong multi-way, right? You can drill the king, you can drill the queen, you can miss and comfortably fold, but you don't want to run into aces only. You don't want to isolate yourself to aces only and then just run it preflop. So you cold call 3-bet. So if the 3-better have aces, you can play 3-way, you can drill a king, drill a queen, stuff. Double suited rundown no gap. This is kind of like the more concentrate no gap your rundown is, the more hit hard is it. So you can play multi-way more comfortably. Single suited rundown don't cold call, just fold it because it doesn't have enough equity. And the final one is double suited ace king low pair. Well, high double suited ace king deuce deuce. You can have suited to the, you can drill an ace flush draw, you can drill a king flush draw, you can hit a deuce that is super hidden, super disguising. So that's the final cold call 3-bet hand. So these are the cold call 3-bet things. Feel free to either understand it or just drop it. It's very special. We're also not sure if it's accurate because Monker solver have a lot of exploitability, we call it. So it's not solving to the accuracy very high, but we find the heuristic. It makes sense, right? It's the heuristic that makes sense. Yeah, that's all of them. So you can go You can go either Wizards or PLO Mastermind. They're both free pre-flop. So whatever we have here, they are free. I would recommend, like, if you just wanted to do the free thing, I would recommend PLO Mastermind because they have the matrix view. It's like the Hold'em chart. It's a 13 by 13 matrix. Wizard, like if you're, well, you're gonna remember those very quickly. So you can see it's only a few slides. These are almost all of them. So you're gonna understand it very quickly. It's easier than Hold'em, to be honest. Okay, cool. We can call it. Thank you for coming.